Welcome to the Lucas Oil Championship Off-Road Racing Series.
No, man, you planned it, man.
We're gonna be out there having a good time.
The battle is the best. You know, it's a big adventure. It's as close to going to the Wild Wild West as we can in this century.
Welcome to Championship Off-Road Racing. We're bringing you back to the big house, Crandon, Wisconsin, Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. If you like excitement, go no further. Ken Stout with you, Ricky Johnson alongside. You've been around this track before. Very exciting here. It's billed as the most exciting turn one in all of motorsports. We're going to bring you Pro 4. We have to talk about Johnny Greaves. The truck has been immensely checked out here in rounds 3 and 4. The winningest driver in CORR history with a career number of 48, 12 of them right here.
Definitely, Johnny Greaves is one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest guy on the track. When you first come to Crandon, you feel fast because you feel the speed, you feel that first turn, you think you're flying, then all of a sudden you find out I'm 5 seconds off the lap times that I should be. But Johnny Greaves has been here so much, he knows this track better than everybody.
And how about Josh? Josh doing a great job as well. 8 times in the top 5 so far this year, and Mr. Baldwin has been on the podium 7 times.
Definitely, Josh Baldwin, one of those drivers that, you know, he's hot and cold. What Josh is going to show up, see, he's very aggressive. He slows down a little bit. He's smoother, more calculated. Kevin Pence dialing in that truck. Kevin's worked with all the greats, so I look for Josh to be up there, definitely on the podium.
A guy that we have not left out, nor have we forgotten, is CORR. And standing with him is the 3rd member of our team, Kelly Stavist.
Hey guys, watch out for CORR. With 4 world championships in the last 4 years, he's earned himself the nickname Crandon Carl. 3 of those world championships came behind the wheel of a Pro 4. Don't forget, he suffered a 10-point penalty in Chula Vista for aggressive driving several rounds ago. Since then, he's been caught in the middle. The competitive side of him wants to get up there, be aggressive, make a move, and run out front. But he does have a championship to think about, and he can't afford any more setbacks. Do you like having the nickname Crandon Carl?
Well, you know, I like it when I'm winning a lot of races, and I've gone on a roll here many times and won a lot of races, but, you know, seems like qualifying yesterday, we had some bad luck as far as just some little gremlins that kind of showed up. But, you know, if we're doing well, of course, I love the reputation, but, you know, living up to that reputation, you know, you gotta stay on top of your game. You don't really want to fix something that isn't broke. But everybody else seems to have been stepping up and working to try and beat us. And now we're finding ourselves where, you know, we need to start considering making some changes to our truck. You know, we're quite a bit heavier than everybody else, but we've made some changes and we're trying some things midstream, and we're going to come out and I'm going to drive the heck out of this truck. And you know, lap times are one thing, but racing's another.
Hey guys, one thing to think about, Carl did not get any practice time in his Pro 4 last night. As we see so often in this sport, a part like this $30 hose can break, forcing his crew to totally swap motors overnight. Carl says if he has the truck behind him, he's going to be walking away this weekend with a win. Guys.
And RJ, Carl has literally hundreds of laps here. Will that affect him on this first and most critical lap?
Well, definitely not, because they re-groomed the track, and so the track is perfect in these Pro 4s. It's wide open, you got cushion, it's watered. They got to work it out.
Let's talk about the track here, and of course a land rush start going down into turn 1. What a ride, baby.
Very exciting, especially in these Pro 4s. They're hooking up to about 95 to 100 miles an hour, drop down into an off-camber corner. After that, it's a real fast, sweepy corner. A lot of drivers love this track because it's a lot of throttle, a lot of sliding. They've brought in a lot of new sand, but underneath, the rocks and the hard pack is still there. Then that brings us back to the start. Great racetrack.
It will be a wild ride. Round 11, Pro 4 Division Championship Off-Road Racing. So all get started in a moment. CORR is brought to you by Kumho Tires. At Kumho, we're driven beyond the expected.
I'm joined now by the new fastest off-road racer in the country. Rick Huseman just set a new track record for the fastest lap time here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. Rick, quite an honor. This is a record that held for 6 years by a very talented driver, Jason Baldwin. I know you guys are always going out there to raise the bar, but did you ever think you'd walk away from this weekend with a new record under your belt?
We can't say enough about everything that's been going on, and it felt good out there, so I knew something was going to happen with that, and it felt good to get that lap.
Guys have countless, thousands of laps here. You're from the West Coast, and even though you're a CORR veteran, are you surprised at all that your predecessor with the track time and now you, both West Coast guys?
I guess we're pretty fast out in the West. We'll see.
All right, you're kind of the guy to beat now that everyone's seen what you can do out there.
You're looking at the engine inside of the Forest County Potawatomi Toyota truck driven by Johnny Greaves. Johnny Greaves made an engine change after running this truck and qualifying on Friday afternoon. Now, that might not sound like a huge deal. People change engines all the time. But when you realize that he was 0.05 of a second off the quickest lap of the day, under the former track record, you've got to ask yourself, why an engine change? Well, Johnny didn't feel comfortable with it. He said the truck felt flat. He thought there was some more left inside of a good motor. But he comes back to his engine technician, John Anderson, who is sitting in here. John looks at him like he's on crazy beans because he just went underneath the track record. But if you take a look at here at what John is looking at, I'll show you two critical lines that actually substantiated the decision made by, of course, John and John. You'll see a red line is ramping up, the black line is flat. The black line is the engine that was in the truck during qualifying yesterday. The red line is from an engine previously run here in rounds 3 and 4 at Crandon. So it proves to them that they're actually losing about 1,000 RPM. So when John Anderson sees this, he says, you know what, my driver's on it. I agree with him. They decided to make an engine change. It was a huge decision at a last minute, but they're hoping the right decision.
For the sanity of me, we need to change this engine, you know. I had my mind made up that it wasn't as good, and the other one ran better and the times were better, so the crew said, let's get it done. I don't think there's any two engines that ever run the same, but based on our test here the week before, where we ran even better times, I had my shift points down. It just wasn't doing what I wanted to when I was shifting at the same point, so I felt that we probably could have turned in a better time. It would really be cool to leave here with even a little more of a cushion, because Chula Vista's, you know, it breeds a different kind of racing, especially end of the year points championship coming down to that. A tight track, like you said. So there's going to be contact, and a lot of things can happen on a smaller track.
I love this place, Crandon. It's wild, it's great. If I can get out front, I can stay out of trouble. We're really not points racing. We're looking for wins and podiums and trying to do everything we can for Amsoil and Kumo and Rancho and all of our sponsors, because at this point, the success on the track and running up front is more important than points, because obviously we don't have as great a shot at the points as a lot of the other guys. But it's not out of reach. We're barely over halfway, and we've seen these pendulums swing back and forth drastically before.
We'll throw the green flag when we come back to the Lucas Oil Championship Off-Road Racing Series. CORR is brought to you by Nissan. Nissan, shift toughness. As we take a look at the Kumho Tires starting grid, we'll see on the inside of row 1 will be Johnny Greaves. They have changed this starting line, though, RJ.
Well, talking about the inside, he's a pole sitter, but that puts him on the far outside, which it goes both ways. If you're on the outside, it gives you a better entry into turn 1, but I always like to be inside because when everybody turns, everything moves out.
Of course, right beside him, Carl Renazetter. That'll be a great battle. Josh Baldwin, plenty of horsepower. Kurt Leduc, not afraid to throw it in there. And, of course, you can see down there Rick Huseman. Rick Huseman, the third truck in from the left side of your screen. That blue and yellow truck, of course, sponsored by FabTech, will be looking to set another one of those quick lap times. The green flag flies. Here we go, RJ. 100 miles an hour into the off-camera right-hand turn here at Crandon International. And look out, baby. Kurt Leduc already into it.
Kurt Leduc and Josh Baldwin getting into it. It never takes long for action here at Crandon. They're down into that first turn. We see Carl Renazetter getting pushed around to the outside. And, oh, Kurt Leduc and Carl Renazetter getting spun around, and Johnny Greaves threads the needle.
Oh, nice job by Kurt Leduc. I think he might have put that thing in reverse and kept it going. You can see Carl struggling. He finally gets going back in the right direction.
Well, that's one of the things that Jimmy Johnson and I have always talked about with what he does now in NASCAR when he spins a car, because in these off-road trucks, you never give up. Even if it starts to flip, at some point, sometimes the driver turns into it to try to do a full rotation. So Kurt Leduc throwing it into reverse, making sure that he's staying with the traffic to keep rolling.
Excellent job, and Adrian Chinney gets the whole shot. We saw that happened a couple times at Bark River. The truck's very fast. We'll see if he can complete this race. Remember, last time we came here to Crandon, he actually had a right rear shock problem. We saw that thing really picking up the left front inside tire coming right here into this section, Argonne Corner.
Right here, you can see how what I was talking earlier during the track description, how they grade the track. So everything is perfect for these Pro 4s. They can drive very aggressive. Some places they lay down a little bit too much water, which they can't help. And here we got a great shot from Rick Huseman's truck as he comes in third place. It's a perfect track right now, Ken.
Beautiful shot. We love the onboard. Looked like Adrian might have went just a tick wide, but kept up some good momentum.
Looks like Scott Douglas got a run on the outside, a little fishtailing back and forth. Now Scott Douglas on the money.
Scott Douglas has really come on here. We've talked about it the last couple of times out here. If you go back, he did finish 7th in the last race, but the race prior to that, he was 1st, and then about 3 or 4 top 5 finishes.
His lap times are very consistent. That is a Johnny Greaves built truck. It was new this year. He's been working out some of the bugs, but he's going faster and faster. And I like the way he's got the truck set up. It's not as low and as rigid as Johnny Greaves, so he's got a little more travel, a little more cush. That also gives the chassis a little more roll, which in turn gives you more traction.
Fairly sleeper power underneath the hood as we go back and take a look at Carl Rennezetter now getting back into the fight as he works his way up through traffic. Al Drews right in front of him. Al Drews, by the way, doesn't get a whole lot of TV time. We don't talk about him too much, but the guy's been out here solid every single year. Just comes out here, puts his laps in, and tries to finish the race.
Al doing a great job staying consistent. Another guy getting back out here to championship off-road, and Carl's making his way by him, is Larry Knoll. He used to do a lot of racing back in the Mickey Thompson days, so it's great to see some old drivers back in here.
All right, for our Nissan Pro Race analysis, let's go back to the start, Ricky.
Keep an eye on Carl Rennezetter on the outside. You see some action with Kurt LeDuc and Josh Baldwin, but as Carl comes in, he's got a great run. But watch, Rick Huseman in the blue Toyota comes over, pushes him offline just a little bit. Johnny Greaves nowhere to go, gets into the back of him, starts to spin him, which in turn puts him into the back of Kurt LeDuc, and around everybody goes. Johnny Greaves, who started it, makes out, doesn't hit anybody, but Carl stuck in the back and has to work his way back up, and that's your Nissan Pro Race analysis.
And again, that was a great shot. If you were watching Kurt LeDuc, you could see him literally drive out of the frame because he did have that thing in reverse and was on the gas. That's so cool. Carl Rennezetter working hard right now, though.
Got his way inside of Marty Coyne in the Pro Comp Ford. Marty, hasn't had a lot of time out here at Crandon, so I said before, when you first get here, it's a little bit intimidating, your braking points. You heard Johnny Greaves talk about his shifting points. What Johnny means by that is he knows this track so well and knows his truck so well that he knows where it's right and where it's wrong, where he's shifting and what RPM he needs to be in. And if he's off by a couple tenths of a second, he's going to feel it.
And when you get on a track as big as this one, in excess of a mile here, you talk about those braking points. What is the difference? I mean, you see a guy that maybe brakes a little bit shorter. Marty comes in and gets on the brakes a little bit quicker. He gives up possibly 10 feet. Those 10 feet at 4 or 5 different turns translates into a lot of time.
Well, definitely. Where it does, here in the Pro 4, you can drive it in so much deeper because when the truck is sideways, it's not using that side angle to scrub. You got all 4 wheels. You can actually use it to gain momentum on the exit. So when you're learning to drive a Pro 4, I've only driven one a couple times. I was off a little bit. I was giving up too much on the entry because I was expecting the 2-wheel drive to be slower around it. But these Pro 4s, you watch them, they throw them in hard, and they're on the gas way early. There's no rotation point. They're on the gas.
Rick Huseman, the Fab Tech sponsored machine back there. We go to Johnny Greaves, who looks like he just got past Josh Baldwin, and then back up to our leader, Scott Douglas.
Scott Douglas running very, very, very strong out there, but it's Rick Huseman, the track record holder, who is all over him. This is a brand new truck. He's had some problems, some big crashes, tore the thing apart, but it looks like he has the bugs ironed out.
Well, yeah, remember the last time he was here, he endoed that thing, really destroyed it. So obviously has it back in form. We'll be back in just a moment. Championship Off-Road Racing is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. Welcome back to Crandon, Wisconsin. This is round 11 Pro 4 action here. We've just gotten started, and we have an excellent race going on here. RJ out front is Scott Douglas. Here comes Johnny Greaves. Oh, and he gives Chinny a little love tap on the way by.
Johnny Greaves coming in, giving Chinny a little bit of a tap, but Chinny square in the corner and getting a great run off the Argonne corner down into the hairpin.
A long straightaway right there. Johnny Greaves definitely on the move. He's going to fight hard here with Adrian Chinney, who's really shown some great promise, really shaking the rust off, getting back into it here in 2006.
Scott Douglas definitely finding his setup, but now Johnny Greaves is putting everything together, and he's working his way now into third place. He said earlier that he wanted to leave with a little bit of a cushion over Carl Rennezetter, which we saw obviously in that Nissan Pro Race analysis, Carl going around having to work his way back up from last. So right now, Johnny can be a little more patient and work his way towards the front and not be in a rush.
That was a great shot, courtesy of our bat cam as well. We'll show you that again. Next time they come around, we'll point that out to you. The thing travels 100 miles an hour. Same speed these trucks are going right here. You can see the Fab Tech machine coming around. Then, of course, Johnny Greaves, Adrian Chinney. Greaves flying that Forest County Potawatomi Toyota as they go nose to tail.
Right now, it's coming together with a great race. All the mud is blown off. You can see that the track's getting a little bit of a blue groove, which makes it great for racing. You can use a little bit of the cushion, but you got to watch, because in that blue groove, big chunks of dirt come up and that can blow a tire. It can also set you up on the bicycle. But right now, you see Scott Douglas working the track perfectly, using the cushion on the entry, coming across the slick, smooth on the gas. Everything's working right for Scott Douglas.
Johnny Greaves won the first 2 rounds here at Crandon, rounds 3 and 4 earlier this year, and is getting close to keeping that streak alive here at Crandon, but 2 tough trucks to get past now.
The 2 Toyotas going back and forth. Rick Huseman, the current track record holder here at Crandon, obviously he's doing a great job. And both of those trucks, you know, a lot of people don't know, there's different rule configurations here in championship off-road racing. They can run a lighter weight, lower cubic inch, and both of those guys are running manual transmission.
Great look from the bat cam once again, and you talk about that. It is the heaviest weight per cubic inch combination in the class, but they have less cubic inches. And whenever I talk about that, of course, I'm talking about the add-ons. Whenever you start talking about the multi-valve engine and, of course, the fuel injection, they have to weigh more per cubic inch, but they only have 340-plus cubic inches inside of it.
Well, one of those things that the Toyota guys are trying to do is to eliminate losing horsepower in a converted and automatic transmission, then run a manual, so everything is right on the money, so that your horsepower that's coming out of the motor loses very, very little through the transmission to the rear wheel.
Scott Douglas having a flawless run here, round 11 Pro 4, and Rick Huseman having one of his best runs of the season.
There's that back cam again. I love the shots, and here we see Rick Huseman working his way up right on Douglas's back fender, using the inside, using the outside. Right now, it's the easiest place to be when you're racing for one reason. That is, you can use the guys' braking points in front of you. Coming down into here, they got lappers. You can see Rick can work his way in. The hard part is, here at Crandon, they're throwing rocks like nobody's business.
Rick Huseman, wow, looks like he just took the turn wide right there. We'll see if that opens up the door for Johnny Greaves.
Right now they're lapping Larry Knoll, and they also see slowing Kurt LeDuc on the inside, so something wrong with Kurt. But right now, Scott Douglas working out about 6. Oh, and Larry Knoll up on the wall. But right now the dice is for second place, and that's with Johnny Greaves and Rick Huseman.
Rick Huseman has finished second on 2 other occasions this year, once at Bark River, once at Chula Vista, but is still looking for that first ever career Pro 4 win. And he's struggling right there. A couple of mistakes. Johnny Greaves will close the gap.
Well, he knows that he's got Johnny all over the back, and he's got his brother, which is his spotter. In fact, both these guys, their brothers are their crew chiefs and their spotters, letting them know that Johnny's on the inside, Johnny's on the outside. So Rick is doing everything he can to get away from Johnny and back upon Scott.
And Rick Huseman, just an excellent driver inside of that Fab Tech sponsored machine. We should also say Rick Huseman at this point in time, as the white flag comes out, has laid down the quickest lap of this race at 124.27. So a great run once again, well underneath the former record of 124.5. So the truck very, very fast.
But watch for Johnny Greaves. Right now we're looking at Rick Huseman's truck, and Johnny Greaves is all over the back of him. Right now they got 1 lap to go. He knows that Carl's nowhere around. In 4th place is back. Oh, we see Greaves trying to open up the corner, running in the outside wall. So Greaves is trying to make a couple extra points on this last lap.
Huseman with a great look right there. That's what it's like to be on board with these guys. And 1, 2, 3 coming at us. And how about Douglas, man? What a great run he has had, and Huseman has not faltered, even though he's under some serious pressure from Johnny Greaves.
As an announcer and as a spectator and a fan of championship off-road racing, this is what you want to see. The 3 best trucks today dicing for first place. If one of these guys makes a mistake, he's going to have 3rd place on the podium.
Douglas staying very composed here as he comes into the gravel pit. A very tough turn. A lot of passes are made right here. Can Huseman pull it off?
Huseman looking to the inside, but Douglas is doing what he needs to do, and that's protect the inside. If you notice, he comes off the far right side of the track right jump, but he doesn't want to pinch this corner too much. Rick Huseman looking on the inside, but Ken, it's not looking like anything's going to change.
Scott Douglas will bring it across the stripe first, and Scott Douglas gets his first ever win here at Crandon, Wisconsin. It's his 11th career win. It's his 10th class win. Bottom line is he had a flawless day. Come on back. We'll talk to our winners. Welcome back to Championship Off-Road Racing. We have a winner in round 11. Let's send it down to the winner's circle.
All right.
Woo! Our Kelly Stavis is down there. Kelly, it's all you, girl.
Thank you much.
All right, Scott, that makes it 2 out of 3 for you right here on the winner's podium. But as we look at the temperature gauge in your truck, maybe it's a good thing this race ended when it did.
Oh, I tell you, halfway through, I looked at it, and the gauge was down pegged at 300, and then it started making circles, and I started going, oh, I got to back off this thing on the straightaways. Rick was coming up on me, and I tell you, I can't say, that's a testimony right there. I don't have to say anything about the AMSOIL. I mean, for the AMSOIL to hold up for 10 minutes at over 300 degrees, but she's Ford tough and boy, hanging in there, man, I'm telling you. Everybody has really, really worked hard to get where we're at, because running 2 trucks is a big deal, but then tacking on a new truck, it was fantastic. And once again, I want to thank Johnny and Kurt Greaves. I mean, they built a chassis on this thing, and we did the tuning, but they did a great job.
Hey, it's nice when you only have to make one pass to get this done, right?
Yeah, that was awesome, and it was a fun pass. I knew exactly where I was going to do it. I tried over here, and then I came in, and I was getting mudded up a little. I says, I bet you I know where I can get him back in the back there, because these Kumho tires hook up so hard, it pivots really, really good at the bottom there. I pivoted, squirted, and they hooked up, and we were gone. But I'm still amazed that this motor held up, but I mean, it's all about the AMSOIL.
All right, well, congratulations, great race.
Thanks a lot.
Well, Rick, we talked about the added confidence from setting a new track record here yesterday. Did that still play into this race today?
Yeah, you know, it felt good. Just off the start, you know, the truck felt good, and first couple turns, I knew we were going to have something today, and I would like to have gotten that first. It was a really close race. I loved it. It was just so exhilarating out there. You know, I loved it.
Well, you got around to Adrian, and you were able to hold off Johnny, who was coming up on you pretty quickly. But at a track where it hasn't always been that kind to you, how special is it to be up here on the podium?
You know, I think my luck's coming back on this track, and it just feels great to be up here again.
All right, well, nice job.
Thank you.
Hey, Johnny, we're pretty used to seeing you here in the winner's circle at Crandon, but you really had to work to get up here today.
We didn't get practice, and I was afraid of it, and it stumbled off the line a little bit. And then the Toyota came alive, and it was just, well, you know, let the track dry up and go after them one at a time. And, you know, everybody's so fast. It really takes a good move to get in on any of those guys. But, you know, we're running the new BF Goodrich tread and compound now, and as the track came around, I was all over them, and I was just like, man, I wish we had more laps, because the tires were coming, the truck was coming, and I just needed a gap to sneak it in there. But time was up, and you know, my deal is keep track of the points battle, and my points battle was behind me, so I just need to bring it in and not screw it up.
Last weekend in the Midwest here, before we head back for the final weekends in California, how important it is to have a good showing here.
Yeah, it really is, and like I said, we need to leave here with at least as many points lead as we have now, and if we get lucky, we'll have a little more.
All right, nice job, Johnny.
Thank you.
The man leaning against his truck in the back is CORR. Our Kelly Stavis had a chance to spend some time with the man behind the scenes.
There's a few CORR racers who have the talent and the fun to race both Pro 2 and Pro 4, but it was Carl Renezetter who first proved it could be done. Carl started racing off-road in the desert, but always had an itch to race short course.
I always thought that's a perfect thing for me, because it combines the short track motocross kind of deal with the off-road driving, and I went out and I bought a truck.
It was a Pro 2 that he spotted in a parking lot. Carl quickly raced that truck into the winner's circle, finishing third in the points his first season out, and he only got better. After years of success behind the wheel of a Pro 2, Carl got the opportunity to also compete in a Pro 4, something no one had really done before. So when he showed up to the track for the first time, ready to race both trucks, nobody thought he could do it.
I remember our first race, and the CORR officials came up to me and said, you know, this isn't a good idea. I don't think you should do this. It's impossible. I don't see how you could do it.
Carl proved everybody wrong, winning his first Pro 4 race. That season, he finished 3rd in the points in Pro 4 and 5th in Pro 2. Every year since, Carl's been aiming for championships in both classes, but his first title came in 4-wheel drive.
That was a good year for us. That was in 2003, World Championship weekend at Crandon. We set the pole. We won both Pro 4 races and the Borg Warner. We even won one Pro 2 race that weekend. We just had one of those years where we didn't have any bad luck, any downtime. We had a run every year thereafter, and it was always something that kept us out. You know, the 2004, 2 turns from the finish, 5 points in the lead, El Rolo. Thank you, Johnny Greaves. But we're over that. And the next year, we thought we had the championship towards the end of the season too. We were leading the points and we lost 4 motors.
This year, Carl got off to another fast start, immediately taking a lead in the standings. But some bad luck and a controversial 10-point penalty have cost him. Now he and Johnny Greaves are neck and neck, and there's no telling who will come out on top.
Round 12 action. We'll put Carl to work when we come back. Championship Off-Road Racing is brought to you by Nissan. Nissan. Shift toughness. We're just about to start round 12 action, but before we do that, we're going to show you CORR Exposed.
Looking at Johnny Greaves' helmet, it's a combination of motocross with a slight twist. As you can see, Johnny runs a motocross style helmet, but here's the important thing, this extra little visor, so when the roost starts to come at him, he can duck his visor and eliminate a lot of the roost from hitting his goggles. What's he running for eye protection? Oakley O-frames with roll-offs and tear-offs. For the first couple laps, he'll run tear-offs, so when he reaches up, he clears the whole goggle so everything is clean. Then all he has to do is give 2 pulls on the roll-off, and he has this clear strip. If it gets too muddy, and if something happens and the roll-off gets bent or folded, he has to ditch these goggles. What Johnny will do is pull up his spare set. He has these taped onto the side. He'll pull it over, pull them out. He can run up to 15 to 16 tear-offs, run a new set of goggles, and he's off and rolling, and he's maybe only lost a maximum of 10 seconds. So it keeps him on the track and keeps him moving forward.
Hey guys, someone to keep your eye on today in this Pro 4 race is Kurt LeDuc. The veteran has been racing here in Crandon for years, and he loves this track. He's set records here, including the fastest 10-lap race here ever, and he's won championships here in Crandon. You can bet that in the final points race here in the Midwest, he's not going to walk away from this weekend without getting up here in the winner's circle at least once. Guys.
Kurt LeDuc has won here on 4 separate occasions over the years. Very fast, has certainly been very fast this year. By the way, I love that piece that you did, Ricky, talking about Johnny Greaves as we take a look at our Kumho Tires starting grid. And I can remember a time at Burke River a couple of years ago where Johnny Greaves really struggled with vision, just as you talked about. He had roll-off failure and then, of course, had no backup. So he's learned his lesson. He comes in now very prepared.
But one of the things that running a motocross style helmet does do is expose you to getting hit with rocks, and we've seen guys get their faces cut, nose broke, so you have to take a chance. For one, you sacrifice the other.
Let's listen in.
I love the sound of these V8s, Ken, and a lot cleaner start here on Sunday than they did yesterday in round 11.
Great onboard shot there through turn number 1 here at Crandon. Josh Baldwin with a great start, but again, it looks like they're going to chase the man that won 1 day ago in round 11, and that's Scott Douglas.
And the 2 drivers that had trouble yesterday is Kurt LeDuc and Carl Reynolds that are both up front, and at this point, we cannot see Johnny Greaves.
How about Scott Douglas? He has to be loaded up with confidence after that great run in round 11.
Well, that's what happens to a driver. He gets to a point when you have a lot of gremlins that bite you along the way when you're designing a new truck. You start to think, maybe my driving's not working, maybe my crew's not doing the right thing, my shocks, my tires. You go through all these things, and he has the right package. It's just all falling into place right now, and he's driving the wheels off of it.
Boy, and look at that battle for second place. Douglas loves that as he checks out. These guys are fighting hard for second place. He's got good, clean track.
A lot like NASCAR, Ken, where guys are fighting for a position, a leader can run away. Same in off-road, but it's not you're dealing with win, you're dealing with a great exit line. Here we're looking at Carl Reynolds that are shooting to the inside. Marty Coyne getting to the inside. Oh, looking on the inside of Kurt LeDuc, but does not make the pass.
Marty Coyne with the Pro Comp truck, making his first assault on an entire season here with championship off-road racing. We love that. Also his son running in the Pro 2 division.
Marty Coyne looking at the inside. Kurt LeDuc focusing more on the exit than the entry. Nobody gets a run on Marty. He opens it back up to the left. Now notice how they stay on the far left side of the track. What a driver's trying to do is open up that turn as big as they can. If a driver has enough stones to keep that gas pedal on the floor, it's one heck of a ride. Here we see Carl Rennezetter slide across the track right now. It's blue groove and muddy, all different types of dirt out there, Ken.
And as you watch those guys come by, if you're in the stands and you have an opportunity to watch them come through turn one, you'll see that the inside tires are barely touching the ground. In fact, some of the time, up in the air, it is just the scariest thing to watch every single time they come through that turn. Carl Rennezetter once again taking a look at Marty.
Carl's pretty much using up every portion of the track, even using a little bit of Marty Coyne. But right now, Marty's doing a great job. He's pretty much holding his line and doing exactly what he needs to, but it's Carl Rennezetter shooting to the inside.
Oh, yeah, nice contact right there.
A little bit of contact there, a little bump and run, but you know what? Marty was doing a good job holding his line, but Carl forcing his issue.
Yeah, I wonder if he gets a black flag for that, because that is right in front of the officials there. Johnny Greaves back there in the middle of the pack. Adrian Chinney did not get the great start that he got in round 11.
Johnny Greaves looking to the inside of Rick Huseman. Pulls by, passes two guys in one shot. Unbelievable pass for Johnny Greaves.
You know, we see his truck turn very, very tight as they go side by side here. And of course, Marty Coyne falling back a couple spots. We see how tight Johnny Greaves' truck turns. We also see that same action out of Scott Douglas's truck.
Scott Douglas, obviously what we're talking about is a Johnny Greaves built truck, but he has his Ford power plant in there, so it's a little bit of different configuration. But Johnny has said in the past, it's one thing to go out there and go fast. When you're trying to put down a real fast line, you're opening up your entry, opening up your exit. What I mean by that is making as big a turns as possible, slowing down as little as possible. When you're racing right there, you see Johnny Greaves shooting to the inside. You're always about taking someone's line, so he's built his truck.
Oh, Ken Bradsco in the number 8 truck puts it into the wall, rolls it over, had a little contact with both Johnny Greaves and Rick Huseman in the process.
We were talking about Johnny Greaves trying to get to the inside. He did get inside of Brasco. That opened up the door for Rick Huseman. But stay with us, because we'll be right back with more championship off-road racing.
This CORR telecast is being brought to you by Skyjacker, the bear of suspensions. Welcome back to round 12. You can see the yellow flag waving here as Josh Baldwin and Kurt LeDuc come at us. The reason being, Kent Bradsco hit the wall, turned the truck over after some contact with the FabTech sponsor machine driven by Rick Huseman.
I really don't think that Rick Huseman was looking to put him over. It was just one of those racing incidences where he got into it. I don't even know if Brasco knew he was there, because Johnny Greaves just shot to the inside, and then Rick Huseman was there. But right now, Kurt LeDuc is the one making the move after the shield. Oh! Pitches it a little bit tight and runs around on the inside. So Kurt LeDuc, who has made a great move on Josh Baldwin, lost everything that he just made up.
And Johnny Greaves with a lot of damage on the back of that truck, so he's not having the run that he had one round to go either, trying to work his way back up through the pack again.
Well, it could be points racing, Ken. You know, Johnny said that he wanted to leave Crandon with more points over Carl Rennezetter than when he came in. After yesterday's mishap with Carl getting spun out in the first corner, Johnny making some points, he could be points racing.
Well, based off of what you just said and the fact that he's actually behind Carl right now, you'd have to think that he'd be on the gas pretty hard